I overheard my wife say our son wasn't mine, so I gave her a DNA test at anniversary dinner, but I got full custody and she lost everything. It was just a regular Tuesday, nothing special. I was on my lunch break scrolling through Reddit, ironic now, and wanted to call Maria to ask if she could pick up some stuff for dinner. She was supposed to be having lunch with her friend Vivian. They do this weekly thing at this overpriced sandwich place that Maria loves, whatever. So I hit her contact on my phone, and it starts connecting. But instead of ringing, I'm suddenly hearing voices. It took me a second, but I realized my phone had connected to her car's Bluetooth. This happens sometimes when she's in range, and the call automatically routes there. She must have been sitting in the parking lot or something. Then I heard it, Vivian's voice, clear as day. LOL, his kid isn't even his. The DNA test would destroy him. I literally froze, sandwich halfway to my mouth, not breathing, the whole 9 yards. At first I thought maybe they were talking about someone else. They had to be talking about someone else. Then Maria laughed, that specific laugh she does when something is both funny and scandalous to her, and she said, I know, right? Sometimes when Thomas is playing with Grayson or helping him with homework, I just have to leave the room. It's too much. My heart stopped. Vivian asked how she's kept it secret for so long, and Maria just started bragging about it. How Damon, her boss, by the way, and she had this intense connection 6.5 years ago during a work conference in Chicago, how she was going to leave me for him but then found out she was pregnant, how Damon wasn't ready to step up, so she just let me believe Grayson was mine the whole time. I'm hearing this. My hands are shaking so bad I dropped my phone. I didn't even notice the screen cracked. Like, who even cares about a cracked screen when your entire life is shattered? And then Maria said, Thomas would never question. He's so clueless. Plus, he's obsessed with Grayson and thinks he looks just like his dad. More laughter. I hung up. I couldn't listen anymore. At that moment, I swear I almost drove straight to that sandwich place to confront her. I was legit sitting in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. I've never been so angry in my life, but something stopped me, call it self-preservation or whatever. So I took 3 deep breaths, thanks crappy workplace stress management seminar, and decided I'm not going to lose it, not yet. This needs to be calculated. I called in sick for the rest of the day, told my supervisor I had food poisoning or something, and drove around for like 2 hours, just thinking. The whole time my phone was blowing up with notifications, group chats, emails, whatever, but I couldn't focus on any of that crap. When I finally got my head somewhat straight, I called an old buddy from high school, Jackson, who's now a lawyer. I didn't give details, just asked for a recommendation for someone who handles family issues. He must have heard something in my voice because he squeezed me in that same afternoon. The lawyer laid out my options. Divorce in our state is no fault, but infidelity can impact asset division sometimes. He told me to start gathering evidence, securing finances, all that practical stuff that seems so freaking impossible when your brain is on fire stuff. But that's exactly what I did. I went home that night and somehow acted normal. I made dinner with Maria, helped Grayson with his spelling homework, and watched some stupid reality show on Netflix with her curled up next to me on the couch, all while feeling like I was going to puke or scream or both. The next few days were the same. Wake up, make breakfast, kiss Maria goodbye, drive Grayson to school. Those drives killed me, looking at him in the rearview mirror, wondering how I never noticed he doesn't have my eyes or my chin or anything of mine. Meanwhile, I was making moves. I opened a separate bank account at a different bank, downloaded and secured all our financial records, started transferring small amounts to the new account, made copies of important documents, took pictures of family heirlooms and stuff that was definitely mine before marriage, and documented everything in a password-protected Google Doc. Maria didn't suspect a thing. Why would she? According to her, I'm clueless, right? I even managed to swipe Grayson's toothbrush for a DNA test. I ordered one of those kits online with expedited shipping. The wait is killing me, but I need to know, even though I already know. Does that make sense? Probably not. The hardest part is still being a dad to Grayson. None of this is his fault. I've been the only father he's ever known. When he asks me to read him a story at night, or wants to show me his new Minecraft build, I still do it. I still love him. That part hasn't changed, which makes everything else so much more complicated. 5 days in now, I still haven't confronted Maria. I'm still driving Grayson to school, still kissing my wife goodbye in the mornings like everything is fine. But it's not fine, and soon she's going to realize just how not fine things are. I've got our anniversary dinner planned for this Saturday, reservations at this fancy place downtown she's always wanted to try. She thinks I'm being romantic. Little does she know I've got a special gift planned. The DNA results should be here by then. I'm not usually the type for revenge, always thought I was better than that. But hearing her laugh about how she's been lying to me for 6 years about something this huge? Yeah, this isn't over, not by a long shot. I woke up next to Maria every morning feeling like I was suffocating, watching her get ready for work, all smiles and kisses, while I knew she was going to spend the day with the dude who actually fathered my son. Pure torture. The DNA test arrived Wednesday afternoon. I was working from home that day and practically tackled the delivery guy. Maria was at work, so I had privacy to open it. It took me like 20 minutes to actually break the seal, though. I kept pacing around our kitchen, staring at the envelope like it was going to bite me. The results were exactly what I expected. 0% chance I was Grayson's biological father. It still felt like getting hit by a truck, though. You know, like I knew, but now I knew. I spent an hour sitting on the bathroom floor, just breathing. Then I got my act together and finalized the plan. Thursday morning, I met with Jackson, my lawyer buddy, again. I showed him the results, and he helped me get all my ducks in a row. Legal stuff is boring, but basically, I'd already moved about 60% of our savings to my new account. Had copies of everything we owned together, changed passwords on all my personal accounts, and had paperwork ready for filing first thing Monday morning. Friday, I contacted Damon's wife, Malia, through Facebook. I'd never met her before, but her profile was public, and I figured she deserved to know too. I sent her a message saying I had important information about her husband and my wife. She read it right away but didn't respond. Whatever, the ball's in her court. Saturday morning, our anniversary, Maria was all giggly, thinking I was being Mr. Romance. She went for a mani-pedi, charged to our credit card naturally. While I finished preparations, I put the DNA results in an anniversary card, along with screenshots of text messages between her and Damon I'd found on our shared iPad. Pro tip, when you're cheating, maybe don't use the family iPad that syncs messages. Shaking my head. Dinner was at 7 at this fancy Italian place downtown, reservations made weeks ago before I knew my life was a lie. The irony, I got there 15 minutes early, nervous as hell, kept checking my phone every 30 seconds. The waitress probably thought I was being stood up or something. Then Maria walked in. I'm not going to lie, she looked amazing. Red dress, hair done, the works. For a split second, just a split second, I almost felt bad about what was about to happen. Almost. She sat down all excited, talking about how she couldn't believe I remembered this was the restaurant she'd been wanting to try. We ordered some fancy wine I can't pronounce. She was being extra touchy, hand on my arm, playing footsie under the table. The whole time I'm just nodding, smiling, dying inside. So, we order our food. Appetizers come. She's taking pics for her Instagram. Got to keep up appearances, right? Then she asks if I got her anything, says it with this little pout that used to be cute but now made me want to flip the table. That's when I pulled out the envelope, a nice blue one with happy anniversary in silver letters, real classy. Maria's face lit up. She was expecting jewelry or something. She opens it, pulls out the card, and a bunch of papers fall out. She looks confused for a second, then starts reading. I wish I had a camera for what happened next. Like, her face literally went through the 5 stages of grief in about 10 seconds. Confusion, shock, denial, anger. Then this weird blank look. She whispered that she could explain, that it wasn't what it looked like, that she'd made a mistake, but it was just once, a long time ago. I just sat there, didn't say a word, let her dig the hole deeper. Then she got loud, started saying I violated her privacy, that I had no right to snoop through her things or get a DNA test without permission, that I was trying to humiliate her. That's when I finally spoke up. I told her I didn't snoop. She and Vivian broadcasted it over Bluetooth. Her face went white. I told her I'd already spoken to Jackson, that I'd moved most of our money, that divorce papers were ready to file Monday morning, that Malia knew everything. The restaurant was packed. People were staring. The waiter was hovering awkwardly nearby, clearly not wanting to approach our table. Maria started crying, not cute movie tears, ugly mascara running, nose dripping crying, begging me not to do this, saying she loved me, that Grayson needed his father, that we could work it out. I just asked her one question, why? Her answer was so pathetic it's almost funny. She said she and Damon had this connection but he wasn't reliable, that she knew I'd be a good father, that she convinced herself it was better for everyone this way. Better for everyone except me, anyway. I paid for my half of the bill, left her to cover her half, petty, I know, but satisfying, and walked out. She followed me to the parking lot, still crying and making a scene. People were recording on their phones, which just made her more hysterical. I got in my car, rolled down the window, and told her I'd be back tomorrow to get my stuff. That she should tell Grayson I had to go away for work for a few days until I figured out how to explain things. The rest of the night is kind of a blur. I checked into a hotel downtown. Maria called me 57 times, left 29 voicemails, each more desperate than the last, sent over 100 texts ranging from begging to threatening to more begging. Sunday morning, she was still at it, now saying she'd take Grayson away if I didn't come home, that I was abandoning my family, that she'd make sure everyone knew what a jerk I was. I finally texted back, "Check your email." I'd sent her screenshots of her conversation with Vivian, plus the DNA results, plus pictures of her and Damon from a work event, looking very cozy. I told her if she wanted to play dirty, I had more ammunition than she could imagine. Radio silence after that. Around noon, my mom called. Maria had called her, crying, saying we'd had a fight and I'd walked out. My mom knew something was up because I never walk out during arguments. I'm more of a let's talk this out guy. I told my mom the basics. She went from shocked to furious in about 3 seconds. Said she was coming over to help me get my stuff. I had to talk her out of showing up at our house with a baseball bat. My buddy Derek let me crash at his place for a few days while I looked for an apartment. I got one lined up, starting next week. Nothing fancy, but it takes pets. I've always wanted a dog. Maria was allergic. Monday morning, Jackson filed the papers. Maria was served at work. According to mutual friends, she had a complete meltdown and got sent home early. Tuesday, I finally saw Grayson. It was the hardest conversation of my life, trying to explain to a 6-year-old why Daddy wasn't living at home anymore without telling him the real reason. He cried, I cried in private. I promised him nothing would change between us, that I'd still take him to soccer and help with homework and all that dad stuff. Wednesday, I got a text from Malia. She and Damon were taking a break while they figured things out. She asked to meet for coffee sometime, said she had questions. I haven't responded yet, too much on my plate. Today, Maria's mom called me. She's a sweet lady who never liked how Maria treated me. She said she was disappointed but not surprised, said Maria had always been selfish, even as a kid. She asked if she could still see Grayson sometimes. I told her, of course, none of this family drama is his fault. So that's where things stand. Maria's reputation is in shambles, her work situation is awkward as hell, and I'm staying with Derek until my apartment is ready, trying to maintain normalcy for Grayson. Oh, and Vivian? Apparently, she's been radio silent, deleted her Instagram and everything. Guess having your best friend's life implode because of your big mouth is kind of awkward. I don't really know what else to say. I'm still processing everything. Some moments I feel weirdly free, others, I'm just sad for what could have been. Not going to lie, part of me wanted to just disappear and never think about this again, but I promised an update, so here it is. 5 months since D-Day, that's what I call the anniversary dinner from hell now, and my life is different. Not perfect, not even great some days, but different in ways I needed. So I was unpacking some boxes in my new place last weekend. Yeah, still unpacking after 3 months here, and found this old photo album from when Grayson was a baby. I sat on the floor for like 2 hours, just flipping through it. Weird feeling, looking at pics of me holding him in the hospital, all proud, and knowing what I know now. But you know what was even weirder? I still felt like his dad. DNA test be damned, that's my kid. Anyway, a lot has happened since my last post, so let me try to get it all down. First, the divorce finalized last month, which is apparently super fast for our state. The judge took one look at the evidence and basically told Maria she could accept the terms or make things difficult and probably get less. She took the deal. I got primary custody of Grayson, huge win, kept my car and retirement accounts, and only had to give her 30% of our savings instead of 50%. The house is being sold, closing next week actually, and we split that money. My lawyer Jackson says I got lucky with the judge, who apparently had zero tolerance for cheaters. The custody thing was the biggest surprise. Maria didn't even fight that hard for it. My mom, Gladys, thinks it's because Maria knows she can't handle Grayson full-time with her life falling apart, but it still kind of hurts to know she'd give up that easily. Speaking of Maria's life falling apart, yeah, it's not pretty. After her public meltdown at the restaurant, which by the way ended up on TikTok because, of course, some teenager filmed it, things went downhill fast. Damon fired her to save his own marriage, so she lost her job. Most of our mutual friends chose sides, and not many chose hers. She's living in some crappy one-bedroom apartment now, working at Target. I know this because Grayson tells me, not because I'm keeping tabs or anything. Oh, and Damon? That whole situation imploded in spectacular fashion. Malia and I did end up getting coffee back in month 2. It was super awkward at first. Like, what do you even say to the wife of the guy who knocked up your wife? But she's actually cool, very different from Maria, quieter, more thoughtful. She told me Damon tried to deny everything at first, then blamed Maria for seducing him, then finally admitted to the whole thing. They're in counseling now, trying to work it out for their kids. Not my circus, not my monkeys. The hardest part of all this has been Grayson. I had to tell him some version of the truth eventually, that I'm not his biological father, but I'm still his dad in all the ways that count. He's only 6, so the concept is confusing, but kids are adaptable, man. He had a rough few weeks, acting out at school, wetting the bed again even though he's been potty trained for years. But we got him a therapist who specializes in kids from complex family situations. Fancy way of saying your family's a hot mess. Last month, Damon asked to meet Grayson. That was a whole thing. My immediate reaction was hell no, but the therapist said it might actually help Grayson long-term to know who his biological father is. We did a supervised meeting at a park. Damon was awkward as hell, brought way too many presents, clearly had no idea how to talk to a kid. Grayson was shy at first, then just treated him like any random adult, showed him his Pokemon cards, talked his ear off about Minecraft. After an hour, Grayson asked if we could go get ice cream, barely said goodbye to Damon. In the car, he just said, "He's not as fun as you, Dad." Not gonna lie, I teared up a bit. Damon signed away his parental rights but agreed to pay child support. Maria threw a fit about that, thought she'd be getting the payments. Nope, that money's going straight into Grayson's college fund. My new place is nothing special, a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent area, close enough to Grayson's school that I can still do drop-offs most days. I got him a bunk bed for his room. Even though he doesn't need the top bunk, he thinks it's the coolest thing ever. My mom comes over a lot, helps with Grayson when I need it. She's been my rock through all this. The apartment has issues, a dishwasher that sounds like it's possessed, a weird smell in the hallway that nobody can identify, an upstairs neighbor who apparently practices river dancing at 2 in the morning, but it's mine. No memories of Maria here, no lies, just me and Grayson making new memories. I got a dog too, finally. A shelter mutt named Rex who follows Grayson around like he's the second coming of Christ. Work has been a good distraction. I got a small promotion last month. Nothing fancy, just a little more responsibility and a bit more money. Enough that I could buy Grayson a Switch for his birthday without sweating the cost too much. I've been putting in extra hours, partly for the money, partly to keep my mind busy. My social life is, well, it exists now, which is something. I joined a group for single dads on Meetup. Sounds lame, but it's actually been cool to hang with guys who get it. We do stuff with the kids sometimes, grab beers without them other times. Talking to other dudes who've been through similar helps more than I expected. I started dating again last month, nothing serious, just coffee and dinner dates here and there. I met a woman named Ellie on Hinge who's pretty cool. She's got a kid too, so she understands the whole my kid comes first thing. I'm taking it super slow, still get random anxiety that she's hiding something, but my therapist says that's normal after what happened. Yeah, I got a therapist too, men's mental health and all that. Maria tried to reconcile 6 weeks ago, showed up at my apartment unannounced, all dressed up, crying about how she made the biggest mistake of her life. Said she missed her family, that she'd do anything to fix it. For like half a second, I remembered the woman I fell in love with. Then I remembered her laughing with Vivian about how I wasn't Grayson's real dad, and that feeling disappeared real quick. I told her we could be civil co-parents, nothing more. She didn't take it well, started with the tears, then got angry, said I was punishing her, that I'd won and should be satisfied. Then she saw Ellie's sweater on my couch, nothing happened, she'd just been cold, and lost it. Accused me of having her over when Grayson was home. He was at my mom's. She said I was replacing her too quickly. The irony was not lost on me. Eventually, I had to threaten to call the cops to get her to leave. She texted the next day apologizing, but I still got a Ring doorbell after that incident. Best $60 I ever spent. Vivian reached out last month too, DM'd me on Instagram, saying she felt terrible about her role, claiming she thought I already knew about Grayson and was just pretending not to for Maria's sake. Obviously, I told her I wasn't interested in her apology or excuses and blocked her immediately after. Last week was Grayson's 7th birthday. Maria and I agreed to do a small party together for his sake. Surprisingly civil, she brought her mom, I brought mine. Grayson was just happy to have everyone there. Maria seemed subdued, like the fight's gone out of her. Kept looking at me and Grayson like she was memorizing us. It made me feel weird, not going to lie. After the party, she asked if we could talk privately. She said she's moving to Cincinnati for a fresh start, Got a better job offer there. Asked if I'd bring Grayson to visit sometimes. I said we'd figure something out, or she's leaving next month. Part of me feels relieved, part feels sad for Grayson. But kids are adaptable, like I said. So that's where things stand. Life moves on, you know. Some days, I still wake up angry. Other days, I'm just grateful for what I do have. Grayson is thriving now that the tension is gone. My new place feels more like home every day. Work is good, dating is weird but not terrible. The other night, Grayson and I were making pizza from scratch, making a huge mess of my tiny kitchen, and he looked up at me with tomato sauce all over his face and said, "Dad, I'm glad we live here now. Mom was always mad at you at the old house." Kids, man, they see everything. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe someday I'll fully trust someone again. Maybe I'll always have that little voice in the back of my head. But I do know that hearing that Bluetooth conversation was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Living a lie isn't living at all.